Hello, my friends. Today we'll listen to an easy, adapted version of Treasure Island. Let's begin. A long time ago in a small village by the sea, there was a quiet inn called the Admiral Benbow. A young boy named Jim Hawkins lived there with his mother. Life was simple. Every day was calm and not much happened. One evening, an old sailor came to the inn. He was tall, strong, and a little scary. He had a long scar on his face. People called him Billy Bones. He did not talk much, but he always looked nervous. He drank a lot of rum and sang strange old pirate songs. Billy told Jim to watch carefully for a sailor with one leg. He gave Jim a silver coin every month to keep an eye out. Jim did not understand why Billy was afraid, but he knew the sailor was hiding from someone dangerous. One day, a blind man came to the inn. His name was Pew. He gave Billy a black spot, a pirate sign of danger. Billy turned very pale and looked very afraid. A few minutes later, he fell to the floor and died. After Billy's death, Jim and his mother opened a small chest. They took the money Billy owed them, but inside they found something more important: a treasure map. The map showed where the famous pirate Captain Flint had hidden his treasure many years ago. Jim showed the map to a kind doctor named Dr. Livesey and a rich landowner, Squire Trelawney. The three of them made a plan. They wanted to sail across the sea to find the treasure. They hired a strong ship called the Hispaniola and a good captain named Smollett. Jim was allowed to join as a cabin boy. He was very excited. On the ship, Jim met the crew. One man, Long John Silver, was the cook. He had only one leg and walked with a wooden crutch. He had a green parrot on his shoulder that always said, "Pieces of 8." At first, Silver was friendly. He told jokes and helped everyone. But soon, Jim discovered something terrible. Silver and many of the crew were actually pirates. They planned to take the treasure for themselves. Jim was scared, but he stayed quiet and listened. He told Captain Smollett and the others later. Now the honest men knew the truth. They had to be careful. Many days passed while sailing. Finally, they saw Treasure Island. The island was green, wild, and quiet. There were trees, hills, rocks, and secret caves. It looked peaceful, but danger was everywhere. Jim and the honest men went ashore carefully. They wanted to explore the island, but they knew the pirates might be dangerous. The island was full of trees, rocks, and tall hills. Birds were singing, and the sea was calm. Jim walked with Dr. Livesey, Squire Trelawney, and Captain Smollett. They looked for a safe place to stay. Soon they found an old wooden house. It was strong and could protect them from the pirates. They decided to make it their base. Some of the crew went to explore the island. Jim walked a little alone. While he was walking, he met a strange man. His name was Ben Gunn. Ben had lived on the island for 3 years. He was once a pirate, but now he was alone. He had eaten berries and goats to survive. Ben was strange, but friendly. He told Jim a secret. He had already found some of Captain Flint's treasure and hidden it in a safe place. Jim promised to help Ben return home after the adventure. Ben agreed to help them find the real treasure. While this was happening, the pirates, led by Long John Silver, tried to take control of the ship. They wanted the treasure map. But Captain Smollett and the others stayed safe in the wooden house. They prepared to fight if needed. Jim watched the pirates carefully. He felt afraid but brave at the same time. He knew that if the pirates found the treasure, they could be very dangerous. Jim wanted to help his friends and protect the treasure. Days passed. The pirates tried to attack, but the honest men were strong and smart. They defended the house well. Jim wanted to do something brave. One night, he found a small boat and decided to sneak back to the ship. He wanted to move it to a safe place, away from the pirates. Jim rowed quietly. He reached the ship without anyone seeing him. On the ship, he faced a pirate who wanted to stop him. But Jim was clever and quick. He fought and won. Now he could control the ship and keep it safe. The next morning, Jim returned to the wooden house and told his friends what he had done. Everyone was proud of him. They knew the adventure was not over yet, but they were ready. Together, they planned the next steps carefully. Jim and his friends prepared for the treasure hunt. They wanted to find Captain Flint's gold, silver, and jewels. The island was big and full of hills, caves, and forests. They needed to be careful because the pirates could be anywhere. Early in the morning, they walked from the wooden house. Jim carried the map. Dr. Livesey and Squire Trelawney followed him. Captain Smollett led the group. They wanted to be quiet and careful. Every sound could be dangerous. As they moved through the forest, Jim saw birds, small animals, and strange plants. The sun was shining and the air was warm. Sometimes they stopped to rest. Jim looked at the map and tried to understand the signs and marks. Suddenly, Jim heard a noise. He turned and saw Long John Silver with some pirates. They were watching him. Jim felt nervous but tried to stay calm. He whispered to his friends, "The pirates are here. We must be careful." The honest men hid behind some rocks. They watched the pirates move. Jim realized that the pirates wanted the treasure for themselves. They were clever and dangerous. But Jim and his friends had a plan too. They would follow the map and find the treasure first. Hours passed. Jim and the others climbed hills and crossed small rivers. They looked for the secret caves where the treasure could be hidden. Ben Gunn, who joined them, knew some of the island's secrets. He showed them paths that were safe and places where they could hide. At one point, they reached a big hill. From the top, Jim could see the sea and part of the island. He saw smoke near the pirates' camp. They were making a fire. Jim realized that time was important. They needed to find the treasure quickly before the pirates discovered it. The group carefully moved down the hill. They followed the map and reached an old cave. It was dark and quiet. Jim felt excited. "This could be it," he whispered. They went inside slowly. The cave smelled damp and the walls were cold and wet. Inside, they found some old chests. They tried to open them. Some were empty, but then they found one large chest filled with gold coins, silver, and precious jewels. Everyone was amazed. They had found the treasure. Jim smiled. He felt proud and happy. He knew their adventure was dangerous, but the reward was great. They packed some treasure carefully. They decided to hide the rest until they were sure it was safe. Even though the pirates were still on the island, Jim and his friends now had the treasure. They knew they needed to be smart, brave, and careful to leave the island safely and take the treasure back home. Jim and his friends knew that the pirates were close. Long John Silver and his men wanted the treasure too. Jim felt nervous, but he was determined to be brave. He whispered to Dr. Livesey and Squire Trelawney, "We need a plan. We must protect the treasure and stay safe." They moved quietly through the trees. Some of the pirates were looking for them near the wooden house. Jim saw the pirates carrying weapons and shouting. He realized the danger was real. But the honest men were clever and prepared. Captain Smollett gave orders. "Stay calm. Don't fight unless necessary. Protect the treasure. Move quickly and quietly." Everyone listened. Jim felt proud of the captain. He was strong and wise. Suddenly, a pirate appeared near the cave. Jim quickly grabbed a small boat nearby. He rowed silently to the ship, the Hispaniola, which was anchored not far from the shore. Inside the boat, he saw some pirates trying to get to the ship. Jim acted quickly. He pushed the pirates away and secured the boat. Back on the island, Dr. Livesey, Squire Trelawney, and the others defended the wooden house. The pirates attacked with swords and guns, but the honest men were smart. They used the walls and windows to protect themselves. They fought bravely and didn't give up. Meanwhile, Jim climbed back to the hill. He saw the treasure chest in the cave. He shouted to his friends, "We have it! The treasure is safe!" Ben Gunn helped them carry the treasure carefully. They loaded it into the boat and prepared to leave the island. Long John Silver tried to act friendly. "Come with me. I will help you," he said. But Jim and the others didn't trust him. They knew Silver could trick them. They decided to leave him behind for now and continue to the ship. As the sun began to set, Jim and his friends sailed away from the island. The pirates were left behind, angry and defeated. Some tried to escape into the forest, but they were lost. The honest men were safe, and the treasure was theirs. On the ship, everyone celebrated. Jim felt happy and proud. He had faced danger, trickery, and fear. He had learned about courage, friendship, and trust. He knew he was no longer just a boy at the inn. He had grown into a brave young man. The ship sailed back to England. Jim and his friends carried the treasure safely. They were rich, but they also had stories of adventure that they would never forget. Jim smiled, thinking about everything he had seen and done. The island, the pirates, and the treasure would always stay in his memory. And so the adventure of Treasure Island ended. Jim had grown, the treasure was safe, and the lessons of bravery, cleverness, and loyalty remained with him forever. I hope you enjoyed the adventure and practiced your English at the same time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment if you want more stories like this. See you in the next episode.